Veritas in bono vino, Christus est vitis vera. I want to talk about the behavior of other Masons who are constantly whining about how we need. It typically breaks into three things. We need to initiate better men. We need more learning, and we need to find ways to make Freemasonry more attractive to people, whether that's new members or the current membership that is hemorrhaging as we speak. And before I get into any of that, I constantly have to say this over and over again. Freemasonry is not about you. Freemasonry is not about being inclusive of you. Freemasonry is not about being representative of you. So all of these dumbass ideas you people have around, well, we need to show men that Masonry makes them better. No, it doesn't, okay? You either knock at the door of a lodge to become a Freemason, or you just end up part of the fraternal parasite that thinks that because you've been handheld and spoon-fed 3 degrees, well, now I'm a master Mason. No, you are a stupid piece of shit, is what you are. So I'm really, it's frustrating to read stuff by, and these are some Facebook posts that I saw, but this one by John Nagy, he lists like 20 reasons why, there's a decline in membership. And he's listing stuff like over-controlling bureaucracies, entitlement rather than merit-based progression, quantity over quality, too many members, no one stepping up to be an officer. Guy, the problem is the fraternity. The problem is you, okay? It's the people you sit with in lodge. You guys always talk about, further light, and we need to, help these guys learn. Learn what? You can't even explain that to yourself. And what you think learning about Masonry has to do with saying like, the square denotes morality. Is that's what's learning to you? That's like as far as the ritual goes? Well, you have to say yes, because absolutely none of you have a coherent understanding of what Freemasonry is. None of you have a shared standard as to what is supposed to be accomplished. I'm listening to this guy, Brother Fluff, okay? And he's yapping away about, guys, we might have, 10 Masons and 9 of them never come back and blah, blah, blah. Because you guys aren't Masons, all right? You don't even know what Freemasonry is. To you, it's just some dumbass buddy hangout. And, we're all gonna put our volumes of sacred law on the altar and hold hands in a chain of union, and we're all gonna be really brotherly and work together. To what? What are you improving? What is it that you're progressing in? You have no clue, because you're a bunch of morons. You're a bunch of stupid people who pay dues to sit in a lodge room, pretend that you're Freemasons, and you can't even pretend correctly, okay? You can't even fake your Freemasonry correctly. You're so stupid. So all of this bull crap about, we need better men and we need more training and we need, more quality in the lodge. Quality of what? What exactly is it that you think you're teaching? Because the answer is really nothing. None of you will learn. None of you can teach. And the moment someone like me comes around and says, hey, Freemasonry actually has a proper definition. Freemasonry actually does have an objective understanding. And if you don't understand that, you're a fake. You're a fraud, okay? And what happens is, that's when I get all the bitching and the crying. Well, boo-hoo, you're supposed to be brotherly and inclusive. Who taught you that? Masonry was never for the dumbass laborers, okay? Masonry was never for the idiots who were hauling stone out of the quarry, to make an allegory here. Freemasonry in the lodge was always for the architects. It was for the people who were educated. and not educated in whatever their mystical, dumbass spiritual journey is, okay? All of you idiots who want to talk about Kabbalah, just get the hell out, okay? Masonry has nothing to do with Kabbalah. Why the hell are you here? You are a pollution to every lodge you are in, okay? If you don't want to learn about Freemasonry, get the hell out, because you're not fit for Freemasonry. Anybody with a pulse and the ability to sign their name on something, they can join the fraternity. And this is the big problem. This is the issue none of you will talk about. None of you are Freemasons, okay? You're all part of this fraternal parasite that, again, for some reason pretends it's Freemasonry, but can't even pretend correctly. You people, you should have gone to the Rotary. You should have gone to the Elks. You should have gone to any other place where you could network and you can have buddy hangout dinners and you can, I don't know, pretend that you're somehow participating in something. But no, all of you dumbass fakes, all of you fraudulent pieces of crap, you are like, no, I need to join Masonry because it's mystical. There's a secret. And I'm mystical. I'm a really mystical guy. Okay? You're pathetic losers. You should have never been allowed into the lodge. You are the reason. All this other stuff, you can make up, like women, you sit here and make up these excuses. Oh, officers need to change more often. Oh, we need to have better activities. Yap, 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 you pathetic women, okay? It's you, fraternity member. It's you, fake-ass Freemason. You are the disease. You are the problem. And when you leave, when you actually get some integrity and you walk your sorry ass out of the lodge and don't come back, now you're helping Freemasonry. You want to help the lodge health? You want to help Freemasonry? Leave, because you are what's making it sick. What is Freemasonry? It's an academic religious tradition, okay? It's a system of Christian morality. You must have the Bible. It's a system of Christian morality, Socratic philosophical allegory, and Euclidean geometric symbols. If as a Freemason you aren't studying the Holy Bible, the dialogues of Plato, and the elements of Euclid, you are not studying anything that has to do with Freemasonry. You're not a Freemason. Those 3 books are what the work of a Freemason is. The theology, the philosophy, the geometry. Well, no, it's not. Yes, it is, you stupid asshole. Read the ritual. Just read it, okay? Read the ritual and ask yourself, why is a lodge composed of a certain number of brethren with a holy Bible, a square and compass? Why is that? Why is it a holy Bible? Why is it not a Torah or a Quran or a Kabbalistic mental masturbatory whatever? No, it's a Bible. It must be a Bible. And there are working tools on the Bible. Why is that? Asks the confused fraternal member. Well, we could ask my 10-year-old son to use context clues, and he would say, gosh, if there's working tools on a Bible, maybe I'm supposed to be working with the Bible. Oh my gosh, mind blown. But no, you guys want to bitch and cry and complain. Well, that's not what I believe. Then get the hell out. Freemasonry doesn't give a shit what you believe, loser. It doesn't care. I'm not a Christian. Great, good for you. You don't have to be one. But that's what Freemasonry is about, Christianity, okay? And if you don't like that, if that stresses you out, kick rocks, buddy. You don't belong. You're not welcome in the actual tradition. Like I said, the fraternity will welcome anybody. But the tradition doesn't welcome anybody. You have to actually understand it. You have to learn about what it is. And if you don't do that, that's how you end up with these stupid ass people who are like, oh, let me list off all the problems that I can come up with and never actually address the real problem, which is you, fraternal member. You slob, you lazy ass piece of crap who just wants to use the lodge as your secondary source of alms or something. Freemasonry is not a church. It is not your church. If you want to sit around and be brotherly and talk about all the charity you want to do and be good to your community, get your ass back to church. That's where you should be doing it. That's not what the lodge is for. That's not what Freemasonry is about. And about this time is when you pathetic frauds, you're like, but. So that's when I have to stop you and say, who taught you that? Who taught you that Freemasonry was about just being a buddy hangout where we do good in our community and we do community service and blah, 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 blah. It's not Freemasonry. It's never been Freemasonry. So I don't, the other issue here is that, again, let me be liberal here for a moment. 90% of you guys globally, okay? 90% of you, you don't have any faith. You don't believe in anything. You're a bunch of pathetic frauds. You just went in there and you're like, I believe in a supreme being. But no, you don't. Like you don't go to church, you don't go to mosque, you don't go to synagogue, you don't do any of this stuff. But then you come to the lodge and you pretend like you're the spiritual person. You're a fake piece of crap, okay? Masons are you're supposed to already observe a faith before you come into Masonry. And I get these idiots who are like, oh, well, my faith is a math equation. Oh, my faith is, it's kind of like the Force from Star Wars. Yeah, get the hell out, you pathetic piece of crap. You're a fake, all right? And this is why Masons, this is why they don't come back, because they realize Masonry is an academic religious tradition. You actually have to read books. And 90% of Masons are so stupid. They're so lazy. They can't read simple texts, okay? They can't read, you tell them they got to read 50 pages and they're just going to quit. They're not going to do it. These adult men who lied to get into a Masonic lodge because they wanted to learn the secrets. They wanted to be part of the conspiracy. No, you're a bunch of pathetic losers. You are a disease to Freemasonry, and you need to go, okay? And that includes the stuff like the Grand Lodge. The Grand Lodge, Grand Lodges are like HIV to culture. They're like an immune virus to Freemasonry, just weakening it, okay? And especially in California. California Freemasonry is just basically AIDS with an apron, is what it is. It's disgusting, okay? And there's no way to save. It hasn't been Freemasonry for many, many years. It's been their little bullshit DEI initiative, and it's not going to last. Eventually what's going to happen is they're going to have to rename it, or they're going to have to do some sort of, they're really going to have to pervert it even further, because what happens in California is not Freemasonry, all right? That's a bunch of crap. And you can, even if it's not California, okay? What do you, when you think of Freemasonry, what do you think of? And this is sort of a rhetorical question, because I'm using what I've heard from people who are actually not Freemasons. And it's the stuff they see online. It's a bunch of random dudes standing in aprons. Why? Who knows? Well, what's the purpose? Who knows? Like, why do these people dress up and take pictures of themselves in Masonic regalia and then post it online? It's absolutely stupid, okay? They go to a lodge. Oh, we're going to have dinner. Okay, great. I didn't come to lodge to have dinner, but fine. Then we're going to read some business meeting minute. We're going to toady for the Grand Lodge. Okay, that's not why I joined Masonry, but fine, okay. And then the meeting's over, and what happened? Nothing. You guys didn't do anything because you're not Freemasons. You're so stupid and lazy, you won't even accept that Freemasonry has a proper observation. Because all you pieces of shit that are so sloppy and unfit for Freemasonry, that would immediately kick you out. You would realize you're not welcome. Right? If you don't know how to do arithmetic and you decide to show up to an algebra class, we're going to laugh your ass out of there. Like, yeah, bye. Go learn what you should have learned before you came here. That's exactly what happens with Masonry. We get these, you don't have to be college educated to be a Mason, but you should be literate. You should be culturally literate. You should be conversant in ideas that are engaged with theology and with philosophy and with geometry. But no, You're so lazy, and you're so stupid, and you're so entitled. I can be included because I took the degrees. You had your ass handheld. You were walked around. You couldn't walk for yourself, couldn't speak for yourself. You did nothing for yourself. You were walked around like a baby. You were spoon-fed everything like a baby. And then suddenly you're like, yeah, I'm a master. A master of what? You haven't mastered anything, okay? You're an idiot. How do we... I want to get into some of how we solve this stuff, but first, I'm going to reiterate it again, okay? Freemasonry is an academic religious tradition. If you refuse to read, you will never be a Mason. I don't care if they pin your little 50-year pin or whatever it is, your 33rd, your dumbass hat. You're not a Freemason. If you're too stupid and too lazy to read what you are supposed to read, you'll never, ever be a Freemason. You will live and die a fake piece of crap, and that's just the way it'll be. That's how it's been for the past at least 300 years, okay? What do you need to read? You need to be conversant in the Holy Bible. You need to be conversant with the dialogues of Plato. You need to be conversant in the elements of Euclid. If you are not conversant in those 3 books, okay? If those 3 books are just so out of the blue for you, and I'll tell you right now, most Masons I speak with have never heard of the elements of Euclid, even though it's got thousands of years of history in education. But you idiots, you're so damn lazy. Oh, the 47th proposition of Euclid. Well, who's Euclid? And you guys don't even know. Assholes. Okay, if you don't understand if you are not conversant or familiar with these 3 books, you're not a Mason. Flat out right now. I don't care if you're a Grand Master. I don't care if you are the King of England. I don't care who you think you are. But if you're so lazy and stupid, as 99% of the fraternity is, if you're that big of a piece of shit that you won't take the time to learn about what your ritual is based off of, and I don't care which ritual you pretend that you use, okay? Any valid ritual is based on those 3 books, all right? You're not a Freemason. You're a fake. That's why we have a word for you. You're called a Cowan, right? You're the guy who wants to pretend that he's something even though he's not. You're like a little transgender Mason, right? You identify as a Mason, but you're really just this piece of shit Cowan who, again, refuses to learn, has nothing to teach, but shows up to lodge expecting that you're going to continue to be spoon-fed, just like you were 3 or 3 degrees, okay? How do we solve this? I've written some things down here, okay? First and foremost, we need to start opening on the 3rd degree again. Fellow crafts and entered apprentices, kick rocks, assholes. You don't belong in lodge. You haven't done the work. You haven't earned your place. You have not earned your seat in a lodge. But no, especially in California, right? It's just do whatever you want, Masonry. So bring them all in. Bring profane in, right? Bring women into the lodge. Bring everybody in, because it's just one big family hangout, right? That's all Masonry is. It's actually not, okay? You should never be opening a lodge that has anything like ritual, business, whatever it is you pretend you're doing. It should never be open to fellow crafts and entered apprentices unless they are what's being used to facilitate that meeting. And I say that because the other thing I hear you idiots, you're always like, well, we want to make sure we get a great ritual for the candidate. Idiots, the ritual is not for the candidate, okay? The ritual is for the lodge. The candidate is a tool. He's a thing that you use to observe the ritual. And when he becomes a master Mason, he should be able to then observe the ritual. Now he's part of the group. The candidate is a piece of crap. All right? He's not even a Mason yet. Take this to heart. The ritual is not for the candidates. The ritual is for you, officers. Master, when you deliver a lecture, that's for the lodge, not for the candidate. Senior warden, when you're going through the steps that you're supposed to be going through during a degree, that is not for the candidate. That is for the lodge. You are exemplifying the ritual for the lodge, for the actual Freemasons, not the entered apprentice, not the fellow craft, not the soon-to-be Master Mason. They are literally just a tool that you use to get the ritual done. And once they've gone through it and once they've shown their proficiency, now they're welcome into, okay? Now they're what would be called on the level. But of course that doesn't happen. All right. Business should be officers only. There's absolutely no reason ever at all to have the rest of the sideline idiots in the lodge when you guys are conducting business. If they really care about the business, they should step up and be officers, okay? This idea that lodge is a democracy is effing stupid, okay? The lodge is a republic. It's run for, it's only those who are the best are fit for leadership. It's not some direct democracy where everybody gets to raise their hand and like, here's what I want. Tough shit. Nobody cares. Okay? If you want to have a say, you step up and now you take on a role. You step up and you say, here's what I can do. But only officers. Okay? And I mean, I would even say only pillars. Like it's really the master, the wardens, the secretary and treasurer. Everybody else can piss off. They've got nothing to contribute. Ditch the membership retention stuff. This pathetic, womanish obsession. It's a pathology. Well, how do we retain our members? Observe masonry properly, you morons. My God, you're pathetic. Well, how do we get those entered apprentices and those fellow crafts back into the lodge? Well, maybe learn about what Freemasonry is, you fake. They don't want to be there because you're pathetic. They don't want to be around you. You're an idiot. You have no idea what's going on. You don't know how to teach them masonry. All you can do is say, well, it's your personal experience and, you get out of it what you put into it. No, you lazy, stupid asshole. That is not how it works. You are supposed to be teaching them. And there is an actual tradition to be taught. And here's, again, the problem. You don't know what it is. You refuse to know what it is because, again, if you were actually to reach for that standard, 9 out of 10 of you would be found unfit for Freemasonry. 9 out of 10 of you would not be you'd be kicked out. You wouldn't be fit for Masonry. So it has to be your personal experience because we want to make sure we cast the biggest net, right? We want to make sure we drag in as many useless ass people as possible so that we get more dues payments and more per capita. Yeah. That's why the Masonic Lodge today is such a cesspool. It's a pathetic joke. And I talk to these Masons, well, that's not what my lodge is like. That is what your lodge is like because I have been to many lodges, and yes, it is. You guys sit around, you have a dinner, but you don't like the fact that there's some criticism about lodge because these are your buddies. You guys go fishing together. It's your buddy hangout. Okay, again, not Freemasonry. Leave. Go to the Rotary. Take your sorry ass somewhere else because you're not Freemasons to begin with. You're just fakes. You're just these losers who sit in lodge, take up time and space, maybe fumble through the ritual, but you slap on the bumper sticker, tattoo yourself all over the place with squares and compasses and everything. You're a dumbass. You're a pathetic joke. You are a waste of space in any lodge you find yourself in. But you feel so entitled to being a Freemason. Oh, I'm a Freemason. No, you're not. You're a pathetic fake. So either correct yourself and get yourself figured out and understand what Masonry is. And it might be the fact that you having to acknowledge that, you might have to say to yourself, well, gosh, I actually don't really want to be a Mason if I have to do it the right way. That would be a revelation for you. Get the hell out. Go join the Rotary. Go join one of these other groups because Masonry doesn't want you. Grand Lodge wants you. Grand Lodge wants your per capita payment. The fraternity wants you because the fraternity needs you so they can have more members, more numbers. But the tradition, that's why you're so confused. That's why you are such an idiot in a tux, because you don't understand the tradition that you pretend that you're a part of. And the tradition rejects you. You cannot observe the tradition unless you actually understand what it is. That aside, this is sort of a piggyback, but this personal Masonic, there's no such thing as a personal Masonic experience. And in the sense that Masonry, again, is not about you, there is nothing more worthless in existence than your personal Masonic experience. You either do the work and understand what Masonry is, or you don't. Your personal experience has nothing to do with it. The only thing that matters is, did you have the integrity? Did you have the focus and the commitment to follow up on your word, which is really what you give in your obligation? You're giving your word to yourself and to the lodge. And no, of course not. 99% of you failed. Your very first step into the lodge was based on a lie, and it was a giant failure because you can't even keep your word to yourself. That's the biggest secret in Masonry, is you expose yourself as such a failed, fraudulent piece of crap. That's the secret. You're an idiot and you shouldn't be here. It's really that simple. What are the standards? You guys have no idea. And you guys have been so screwed up by relativism. You guys have been so screwed up by this idea that you need to be tolerant and sort of have this indiscriminate love for everything. Yeah, you guys are screwed. That's the sign of a broken mind, okay? That is the sign of a defective man. So that's something I'm not sure how to help you guys with, because that ultimately is about care. That's where the ultimate choice comes from. What am I willing to get rid of? What am I willing to reject? Because that's what Masonry is all about. You idiots in your little, oh, well, I'm shaping my stone, I'm building my spirit. No, you're not. That's all mental masturbation, dumbass. Health is about what you reject. A healthy society is about what it doesn't tolerate. A healthy society is about what it doesn't include. So again, all you little DEI losers, you want to bring everything in, right? Because that's how you smuggle yourself in. That's how you sneak yourself in. If everything is okay, then you get to be in too. But like I said, the second you actually start observing Masonic standards, you're gone. You're not welcome into the tradition. But of course, you're too lazy and stupid to understand that anyways. You just feel entitled to showing up and hanging out and pretending like you're a Freemason when you're not. It's pathetic. Gosh, we're going on 30 minutes. I want to wrap this up, okay? Stop making up excuses. Stop making your stupid little lists. Stop trying to have these mic drop moments where we're like, guys, we've been focusing on the wrong thing. No shit, asshole. You got people like you have been doing that for the past 300 years at least. You're no different. You're the same sloppy bullshit from 1717. You're the same dumbass people. Because you want to costume play buddy hang out in the fraternity while you do absolutely nothing but reject, deny, fail to live up to any actual Masonic standard. And I still ask to this day, I ask people and I press them, define Freemasonry for me. You guys can't do it. Oh, it's some charity and brotherly love. And no, assholes, that's not Freemasonry, okay? Give me the definition. If I say what's an even number, you say it's any number divisible by 2 without a remainder, right? That's a definition. Telling me that it's about charity and brotherly love and improving yourself. What are you improving? You have no idea. Oh, I'm a nicer guy. That's what you thought Freemasonry was about? Being a nicer boss? Being a nicer father? If you're a piece of shit outside of Masonry, like if you're a bad father or a horrible boss outside of Masonry, A, you shouldn't be in Masonry to begin with, but B, you're really lost and confused. That is not what Freemasonry is about, okay? In fact, try to find out where the phrase "take good men and make them better" comes from. It's not a Masonic phrase at all. If anyone's interested, I'll tell you where it comes from. But I challenge you, find the origin of that phrase for me. And explain to me why you think it has anything to do with Freemasonry. Freemasonry, the tradition, not the fraternal HIV, okay, not the disease that is you people in the fraternity. Freemasonry is an academic religious tradition. It's a system of Christian morality, Trinitarian Christian morality to be specific, Socratic philosophical allegory, and Euclidean geometric symbols, and it must be Euclid. Like I said in a previous talk, you're not just grabbing a geometry book off the shelf and like, oh, Freemasonry. It's Euclid for a specific reason. And I'll tell you again in this video, like I did last time, it must be Euclid because you don't read Euclid's Elements to learn about drawing shapes. The geometry is not about how to inscribe circles and squares. Euclid, in particular, teaches you logic. It teaches you deductive thinking. So if you can go through the first book, right, if you get up to the 47th proposition of Euclid, you by necessity must have been able to do each preceding proposition. So that's what's called a progressive science, right? You advance from one step to the next. I had some really dumbass Mason one time, we're a progressive society. And he meant that in a political way. And I mean, that couldn't be further from the truth. Freemasonry is about ritual. Freemasonry is about that which never changes. Okay? Freemasonry does not change. You are supposed to change. You lazy, sloppy piece of shit. But you refuse to. So you need to change Masonry now. You need Freemasonry to change its ways because you're some sort of reprobate, you're a degenerate, you are extremely lazy, you're one of these mystical masturbators who just everything in life has to be some, mystical symbol for you. You idiotic Kabbalists who you don't even, the people who say they study Kabbalah, they don't anyways. They don't even read any of the Jewish scriptures, which is what the Kabbalah is about to begin with. If you think you're using Kabbalah when you do Masonry, you are stupider than most. Okay, Freemasonry has nothing to do with Kabbalah. Please just stop with that crap. All right, I've been going on for too long now, but again, Freemasonry, it's an academic religious tradition. It is a system of Trinitarian Christian morality veiled in Socratic philosophical allegory and illustrated by Euclidean geometric symbols. Get that into your heads. Get those 3 books. Read your rituals alongside those 3 books. And oh my gosh, you'll see that literally lines of text, again, in any valid ritual, come directly from those books. I'll give you a hint. The symbols, the square and the compass, the triangles, those come from Plato. You want to say no. You want to say, well, that's just to you. No, you stupid ass. I'm telling you, that's where they come from. I can prove it. So whatever whiny little bitchy womanish thing you want to say, you better have proof. Prove it. You're not going to be able to. This is like you trying to tell me that 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. I'm happy to hear it. Like, great, let's hear it, buddy. Give me your little explanation, even though I know you're wrong. All right? If you want to understand Freemasonry, I'm happy to tell you. But that's the other thing. You guys are so proud. You're so vain. None of you ask questions. And all of you you guys are so pathetic. Like, you won't learn. You won't learn from anybody. You think some AI summary is going to give you the answer, but you won't learn from someone else in your lodge. So let me tell you right now, I know more than you, and I will prove it. Okay? So any Mason who wants to run his mouth, I'm here. Please. If you want to learn, you come to me, all right? And I will teach you. If you don't want to learn, if you just want to post little, oh, here's why the fraternity's, failing. I mean, just leave Masonry. You are a pollution to the lodge. And you're pathetic. Come on, guys, we got to do better Masonry. You don't even know what Freemasonry is. So how are you going to do better in it? All right, last one. Freemasonry is an academic religious tradition. It is a system of Trinitarian Christian morality, veiled in Socratic philosophical allegory and illustrated in Euclidean geometric symbols. Get that through your head. If that stresses you out, if you don't like that, then you shouldn't be in Masonry. Okay? If you hate triangles and you hate points and lines, then you shouldn't join a geometry class. Okay? Same concept here. If you don't want to study these things, you should not be in Masonry. You are what the problem is. You diseased fraternity of pathetic men. I'm improving myself. You're not improving anything. Okay? You're making things worse for everyone. And you're crapping on an actual tradition that you could master. I mean, you don't have to be a genius to do this stuff. You literally just have to care. But you guys don't care about Masonry. You care about identifying as a Mason. You want to make sure you get your cool tattoo and your bumper sticker and your dumbass hat and whatever else. You fakes, you pathetic fakes. Anybody who actually wants to observe Masonry and learn about it, I'm always here. And a lot of you guys, you get the few of you who are like, yeah, he's right. He's a jerk, but he's right. I am so happy we connected. And for all of the other Masons online, post, here's me in my apron. Oh, here's my new Masonic ring. God, get the hell out of here, you idiots. Go to the Rotary's great. The Elks are great. These other things are great. And they're exactly what you guys do. They're exactly the place for your types of behavior. This sort of subliterate networking buddy hangout. We'll all have dinner and gosh, it'll be a time of charity and brotherly love. Get the hell out of here. Okay? That's not what Freemasonry is about. That's not what Freemasonry is for. All right? Fix yourselves. I am always happy to help. If you are lost, if you are confused, reach out to me, because I'm telling you right now, the current trajectory you're on, I look forward to the death of the fraternity. The fraternity really is a disease. And hopefully once it's gone, then the actual tradition of Freemasonry can be reclaimed by actual men who have the spine to support the brain needed to truly observe Freemasonry, okay? And if you don't care, get out. Get out of Freemasonry. You waste space. You pollute the lodge. You embarrass yourself by calling yourself a Freemason, and you bring shame to the tradition of Freemasonry. So, yeah, fix yourselves, guys. It's really pathetic, and the only thing that's causing all of this, the decline, is you. Pathetic fraud. You fake Mason who doesn't know what they're doing, can't read the ritual, wants to make Masonry all about them, wants to make Masonry about their Kabbalistic 18th century, humanist ideals. Get the hell out of here. Go somewhere else. You're not a Freemason. You're a pathetic joke. All right. Enough of that. Good luck. If you actually want to learn about Freemasonry, reach out anytime, or I've written, hundreds of pages by now, which you're welcome to critique and read, and I actually give you the sources, okay? So a lot of you guys like to complain and cry, and you're like, well, that's not how Masonry was taught to me. Well, where did you learn it? And then you go silent. Well, because you didn't learn it at all, idiot. All right. Cheers.